Imagine a spiritual pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It's the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence show with Dr. Brie Gibbs, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside of Goddess Bell, the creator, and other masters, will share information never before released on the planet to help guide and evolve humanity, and along the way, heal the 4 dimensions of body, emotions, mind, and spirituality. This show is about true spirituality, offering a new earth narrative and effective path to well-being as it accelerates the journey of our spiritual evolution to keep pace in this rapidly changing world. Get ready to emerge the goddess within each of us, both the feminine and the masculine. If you have any questions about yourself that you have no answers to, this is the show for you. Let's emerge together and emerge better. Now here is your host, Dr. Brie Gibbs.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for today's show. Let's merge together and merge better. As spiritual leaders and life coaches, we have a responsibility to humanity to make sure that we are able to balance the energy of coaching as spiritualists and coaching as non-spiritualists. How do we do that with ourselves? How can we separate it to help others where we do not influence them in any way of our beliefs? Let's just say we have a man that one of us are working with, and they have a problem in their marriage or a relationship or their job. And they may not want to hear the spiritual part, they want to hear the human part of us. As an entwined goddess, that's really hard for me, but I've learned to separate it so I can help others with their beliefs and not influence them. Today, I'd like to talk about what I've learned through this last year by the Creator, by my guides that stick very closely with me to help guide me on every show I do. And they work with Theresa also, certain ones. And today, I'm very blessed to have many of them here today. So, as Theresa, I delve and explore this topic, why are these times when spiritual answers are necessary? Well, let me answer that. Because we're in the great shift of consciousness, and this world is changing, this earth is changing, and many of us are not paying attention to the signs, such as the floods, uh, clouds in the sky that you see, and they're looking like a cyclone. We need to pay attention to all of that. So, right now, I'm going to bring on Theresa. Hello, Theresa. How are you?
I'm pretty good, except for clearing a little bit of stuff. I sound a little hoarse, but I'm good.
Well, that clearing actually is going to help
Yes,
with our topic
it
today.
does, doesn't it?
It does. So, the one thing is important is the scale of this of justice that they used to have. The old scales. And I actually put a picture of it up on my site. And I looked at that and I started thinking, wait a minute, that's balance. It's just not weighing something.
Mm.
And so if we take our beliefs as spiritualists and we put it on there and we have somebody that is looking for that non-spiritual side of us, they like, what they see in us, they want, can we work with them, so what you do in this 15-minute thing we have where we can talk to them, where it won't cost them anything, that they're able to find out, is the scale balanced enough? I think that's really important that we do that. All right, so let's get right to it. I'm going to run down to my notes real quick. Spiritually, as spiritual leaders and life coaches, let's separate that right now. As a spiritual leader, we go with the guidance that we get from the Creator, from our guides, our angels, our ascended masters, who's ever working with us. I work with several, and sometimes they say, gosh, this is wrong. You need to think about what you say before you say it. So that's where all the filters come in. And so we're filtering the cellular consciousness. We're filtering, you know, through the hippocampus, through our voice, all through the head and everything. And then it filters through the heart before we say anything, including the ego and other places in the body that eventually I'll tell you about the filters. But Teresa, the one thing is let's just say I have a problem with my husband. Let's use that for an example.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm not needing that spiritual part. I'm needing the compassion on the human side. Now, how would you suggest that I do that for
Well, it
myself?
depends on, yeah, what the situation is. But if I'm listening to you,
Hmm.
I would listen, first of all, without judgment, without opinion, because sometimes when you're close to someone, and maybe it's even a stranger, your desire to help
Right.
is sometimes so great that you don't stop and slow down to think about what it is. I'll just say your husband, in this case, what are you really needing? And sometimes it's not your opinion or a spiritual, it's a sympathetic ear that says, I hear you. So I really think it depends on the circumstances, but that's kind of tends to be where I start.
Good, because I was using the husband
Yeah,
example.
right. It could be
You
any
know,
example, right?
my personal relationship,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so let's leave my personal life out of it. But I'm just using that for an example.
Yeah.
The other thing is the difference between the two,
Mhm.
and a lot of people don't want to look at that. So I'm not a psychologist. But do I have a degree with it? Yes, but I'm not a psychologist. So I cannot say, I think you should do this, this, and this on a medical level. And I have run, and I know you've run into people that have need psychologists. So what should a life coach actually do when it comes to that point?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
And life coach actually do? Well, I can tell you my past experience with a life coach. It's been very career based, goal based, forward looking. How do I fix a particular situation going forward, but not necessarily looking back at anything.
Mhm.
And that's the perspective that I first ran into on life coaches. And so before you decide what you really need to offer, I think you really need to hear the whole kind of story and go, what is it I'm helping to solve here?
Right. There's things that we cannot solve.
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm going to say right now. And the times that I have referred people that different people that are more qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that spirituals and life coaches. So I'm just going to ask at combine life coaches and spiritualists together now. There are problems we cannot solve that
Mm-hmm.
we have to refer them to another person that you may know. And I think that's very important. A lot of people want to say, oh, no, I can help you with everything. I've got everything inside of me. I can do it. You know what? There's times I have to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but I do know somebody else that can.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was one person still on the planet, Dr. T. Belshire, and she could, handle a lot more difficult situations than the normal life coaching. Um, you know, I'm not talking business. I'm not talking spirituality. I'm talking on a human mental level.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm very careful with that. I will not take on a subject that I know I'm not qualified for. And this is what this program is about. Are we qualified to work with somebody that may have domestic abuse that is so deep that we cannot help them? We can only guide them to only get to a certain point. And if they can't reach that point, then it's our responsibility as spiritual leaders, as life coaches, to give them the help they need by sending it to someone that can help them. And I've gone so far, honestly, to say, okay, may I have permission now to speak to the therapist they may be working with and get a release form So it would be okay that they hear what I have to say. And they're okay with the knowledge that I'm speaking to their therapist and the therapist is speaking to me to help them. And actually, it's a really good thing because we're working as a team. When you work as a team together, let's just, let's just say I'm doing the healing on the client. We're a team, or I'm talking to them. We're a team. I give them directions, what I think. They follow directions.
Mhm.
They do the homework I give them, right? And when I give them the homework, then they do the job. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So we got about 2 minutes for the break. So, 2 minutes now. Thank you, Stefan, our producer. Um, Somebody that has an addiction, sometimes I can help them with that. Because honestly, I had an addiction. I hurt my back, and a doctor put me on pain pills. And yeah, that was not a good situation. They were very addicting, and I didn't know it.
Mhm.
And I had to get off of them, and I went through withdrawal I'll never forget.
Mhm.
I don't believe in hiding anything about myself. And this is the reason why I don't hide it, because I've been through it and I can help people that way. Like with you being a corporate person,
Mhm.
you have more of the understanding for the higher level of a corporate person that may need help.
Excuse me. Yeah, I do.
And I think that's very important that people know that about you, because with you, you're able to give them the knowledge where um, there's some knowledge I would not have. That clearing is doing a good job
Oh,
on
yeah.
you, by the way.
It will always pop up right when you want to talk, won't it?
Right. So, but the thing is when we look down and we really look deep inside of them and we say, okay, I think Theresa would be better for you as a life coach if I'm looking at somebody, right? And I'm sorry you're going through this, Claire. I can see how miserable you are. Let's take a quick break. Back to Theresa and I in the Goss Emergence. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. So during the break, I'm going to tell you what's happening. Teresa's got a cold, which manifested into her clearing during the commercial break. Somebody had texted me that she seemed a little distracted, but she has lots of insight. Thank you very much for that. And you actually did this at the right time. We're going to talk about clearing. So when we clear something inside of us, it manifests out. It has to come out, whether it's a cold, flu, light body flu, when you go into a transformation, is a spiritual flu and a cold, and which Teresa is going through right now. I think that's really important. So the person that texted me, thank you very much for reminding me to talk about this. And this person didn't even know this was happening. So the thing is, Teresa, as you're going through this right now, I know you're uncomfortable and thank you for being on the show today, but you've seen what I've gone through.
Oh, yes.
And that goes to everybody. And so right now you're going through it, the light body flu, which means you are ascending your vibration, you're raising it higher, you're releasing all negativity, you're releasing everything out of you, and it has to come out of you some way. And it's terrible because there's a cold or it can give us some kind of illness, and that we have to go back to the doctor and take care of, and get healers or whatever. And, we've all been working on you. And so that's one reason sometimes these things come up. So, are you okay to finish the show?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I will
Okay.
mute myself if I need to cough. But I will say one thing about when you go through these kinds of clearings. It certainly isn't my first one, but there's a tendency to kind of run and hide, which
Yes.
I wasn't going to do this show today, but I thought, no, sometimes you just have to show up,
Oh, well,
all your glory, right?
I'm telling you.
Some days your glory isn't really very glorious, but That's just part of life. And I think we got to, kind of give each other permission to just be what it is. It
Right.
takes a lot of stress out, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But I've learned a great deal from you in our many years together, by being able to see all your vulnerabilities, in probably more detail than anybody on this planet.
Well,
And
thank you. Thank you
the
for saying
learning
that.
that you have from working with people like this is
Mhm.
it's just beyond words. It's invaluable. So I would encourage everybody just to be what you are when you are and share what you got.
Well, thank you, because I'm wearing ripped jeans right now and a
Yep.
t-shirt,
Yeah.
looking great. It's like I'm just me today.
That's
I don't
comfort.
care. I don't want to put on a front that
No.
I'm somebody else. I like who I am. The creator made me,
Yeah.
and we've all been made by the creator. But I was really looking at it the other day and I'm going, I'm perfect for who I am and what I am.
Right.
I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to do a job.
Right.
And if I can't connect with a certain person, then I'll send them to you, or I'll
Mhm.
send them maybe
Right.
Dr. Pat or somebody else I know. So I know when I need to use scale of balance. All right, so let's go to our second topic here. Let's talk about life coaching without spirituality. Separating yourself from your spiritual side is actually easier than you think. Send the ego out of the body. Yes, I said
Mhm.
that. I have sent my ego out into the yard. My ego is filtered right now, so it's still in my body, but I have had to send it out of the yard because the ego can influence you to say things you do not realize you're saying. It can make you into another person. The ego likes to cause chaos. And sometimes it doesn't even let you be who you are. So the thing is that working with someone on a non-spiritual level is actually easier without the ego. So as I'm working, I'm gonna actually just do a lot with you today, Teresa. I'm sorry, but it's
No,
coming in.
go for it.
When the ego is hitting you that hard, um, I'm getting lots of questions. I'm sorry. So it's okay. So when the ego is hitting you hard like that right now, and it's affecting you, I suggest you send your ego out in the yard and tell it to go enjoy itself out in the sun for a while till you're right off the show and bring it back. We can do that during the break or whatever. But I want to look at a question I just saw. Um, Damn it. So what about the scale of balance? That's a good question,
Mhm.
actually. Um, the scale of balance is something that you keep yourself on inside of you. So let's just say you go in your cellular consciousness and you're bringing it. So more questions. Bringing it in, and it's coming down inside of you.
Mhm.
So where would you keep it? You would actually bring it above your heart, so it does not damage anything. So let's say this side is where I'm having emotional problems. This side is where I want to fight it. This side I have an illness. This side I want to fight it. Join them together but without touching. Find out which one that you want to use. So with me and with you,
Mhm.
we can't talk about clients we had, so we have to kind of be careful about this. Um, Healing in person and keeping that scale is really important. There's people that I care about very much. There's someone I care about very much. I'll say this right now, that I'm doing everything I can, but I have to remember my spirituality can get in the way if I'm not careful. My human side can get in the way. So the scale of justice is keeping you balanced. All right, let's do that one. I'll look at the other question here while I'm at it. Oh gosh, I got the cell phone. So, how do we control the ego? you visualize the eagle's on the left-hand side of your body. Okay. It's about 2 inches underneath your breast plate. Okay. You filter it. But filtering it is taking a mesh like a spider web, but closer. Listen, not a mesh, let's say a knit sweater. And you take that and you wrap it around the ego. So the ego can't be damaged either, also. And so with that, when you do that, when you get that all entangled together, the ego doesn't have such a heavy voice in your head. And you're thinking, it's in my head and it's way past down here. So like, okay, so I'm going to go down about a foot almost, right? On me, I'm 5 foot. So I'm going to bring it down to about 4 feet. And just right above the spleen is what I could, yeah, above the spleen. Um, and so you send that mesh around that. Now, with the person that texts us, I will put the mesh around that. But the thing about it is that when you tell your ego, it listens to you. Sometimes I've just taken my hand from right to left and say, ego out now. I've done that. And it's worked out real well. And to keep balanced.
Mhm.
So, and how does someone navigate, excuse me, when we navigate it, Teresa, what do you think?
When you navigate the balance or the ego?
The balance.
Well, there's got to be a total awareness all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Total awareness that you need to maintain that balance. I know for me, I start with clearing filters totally.
Mm-hmm.
All my filters, all the way down to the ego. I often send the ego out, depending on who's asking what. Typically, I don't probably send the ego out as often as I should, just on personal stuff. But you could do that. But that's, for me, it's an awareness and a filtering, and a slowing down. A slowing down.
Right.
Because I know when I start speeding up again, the ego's back in.
When I get real
That's just
hyper,
for me.
when I get real hyper or
Mhm.
I'm getting angry at something, I realize sometimes after I'm done, I'm not, I've had some situations going on, that.
Mhm.
And when the anger has come out, I've had to just shut the ego out to be able to bring myself back centered and be who I am today. We got 2 minutes for the break, so let's get to another subject. If someone comes to you and look at them and say that they need this, they need a situation fixed. Can we fix the situation? Well, let me tell you, we can help guide them, but we cannot fix it. That's a tough one. Uh, that's what we're here for, to guide, give them directions, but we can't control their situation. If they want help, we're here. Um, and what if your beliefs are wrong with theirs beliefs?
Mhm.
Then what do you do, Teresa?
You're in a mess if you dive into that too much, because I think a lot of times your beliefs are going to be different than theirs, and a lot of times a true spiritual belief is very different than, let's just as an example, um, a person with a different religious upbringing or doctrine that they follow very strictly, and you're going to clash right away if you get involved in that, and that's not helping anybody. So I think you have to back away from that and make sure you don't get into that situation, because that's not respecting where they're at and that's not helping. But the ego will dive in there and offer an opinion real quick on
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, and that's why I always have the ego out before I work with
Right.
clients. But let me tell you something. There's spiritual beliefs, I don't stop. I work with
Mhm.
many different people that have different spiritual beliefs. And actually, I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot from them. They've learned a lot from me, and they were longtime clients.
Mhm,
And so we were able to,
mhm.
on the scale of justice, come together and work together. And that's really important that people know that. We'll be right back with Jason and I and Stefan, our producer, in just a few minutes on the Gods Emergence. When we merge together, emerge better. Welcome back, everyone. So during the break, Theresa and I were talking about something, and I'm gonna bring her on. She's gonna ask the question, and I have to answer it. Okay, Theresa, hit me up.
Yeah, okay. I was asking Brie during the break, what do you do when you have a client who is very, I'll say rigid, because we're probably all rigid on what we think sometimes, to a certain, let's say, religious doctrine, as an example. Um, and they want to argue with you or not listen to a different, more open-minded point of view. Because I think I see this in the world a lot. I see a big circle of family and friends for many people
Mhm.
that are very strict one way or the other. And it's a very strongly held belief system that it does not um, welcome anything on the fringe. How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, you're going to honor and respect their
Yes,
beliefs.
right.
You can't take that away from them.
No, for
And
many of us, really.
no, no, like my beliefs or
Right,
beliefs, others. You can't take that away. They have a right to their beliefs
right.
on their doctrine that they've been raised on, whether it be Christianity, Mormon, being Mormon, a Buddhist, Catholic. It does not matter. It's their beliefs. If you honor and respect that, you're able to work with them. I've had that. And you're able to work with them and understand where they are coming from. And are you willing to shift that scale just to help them, though?
Mhm. That's the
I,
key.
and that's what I do. I
Mhm,
take that scale and I say, okay, I can do this. They came to me. They're wanting my help. It's time to shift, to give them guidance. And it's worked out very well.
mhm,
Honestly, it has. It's like,
mhm,
I can do that. I remember about 15 years ago or so. No, about 10 years ago. Sorry. 10 years ago, I had someone that the doctor was totally different than what I believed in.
mhm,
And it was like, but I was like, wow, okay. And I listened to them and gave them my opinions. And we actually had such a great team that we worked together for quite a long time. And that person now is healthy and fine and doing well. And he was able to understand that even his beliefs were almost exactly as the same as mine, but taught in a different way.
mhm,
So let's just say um, they come to us. I'm going to use a man situation. Gentleman I know came to me about the Bible. Okay. I answered my beliefs. Okay. Big mistake. I should never have done that. The book of I is what I come from, the one that
mhm,
was in the Alexander Library that was burnt 7 times, but the book of I was before the Bible. And the goddesses swooped in, got it out before the fire,
mhm,
the first fire. So it was saved. So one day I will talk about the book of I and the knowledge that all of us are in that book. But, you know, I screwed up and said, okay, no, this isn't true and that's not true. But some of it was true, but it still wasn't for it wasn't my place to say, you know. And I've said this to somebody else too. So I'm gonna use that example.
mhm,
And so I had to use scale justice and apologize, first of all, that I was wrong on the situation that we are talking about. That it wasn't my place to tell them that. So that's how you answer that one. And that's how I'm going to answer it. I was wrong.
mhm,
Hey, we all make mistakes. And that's the one thing that I want to talk to people about is making a mistake with a client or a friend or whoever you are talking to. It's okay to make that mistake. You can say, okay, they made a mistake. oh well, I accept it, I forgive it, and let's go on. And I have a personal journey with somebody right now that, yeah, mistakes have been made. And, but at the same time, I've learned a whole lot.
Kind of sounds like our journey too.
Yeah. And so,
Those turn out to be the best ones sometimes.
it- seriously, they
Right?
are.
Yeah.
Seriously. And so when you look at that situation and you go, okay, or any situation, and you say, okay, I need to start using the scale, let's use it. And that's how you can rebuild the foundation with a person, which I'm working on now.
Mhm.
You can rebuild that foundation. And it's like your house. You put the foundation down first, okay? Then you're building the walls and the ceiling, and the roof and, whatever, the whole construction. And then you start in the inside. Okay, I want white carpet in my living room. Now, I have dogs. I'm not going to do that. If I didn't have dogs, I'd have white carpet. But anyway, white carpet, right? And I'm using that color for a reason: cleanliness, clean, purity. And you're able to start rebuilding a relationship without the chaos there.
Mhm.
If you're willing to put your ego to the side and say, okay, I want to build that relationship with this person or this client. Visualize your office completely pure. Visualize yourself pure. Make sure all the filters are clean. And then you can go for it. Does that answer that question?
Yeah. Would you equate that to kind of in a way, maybe a little different way of just saying I'm finding a common ground with someone that I'm working with? You have different set of tools, but sometimes it's finding that place where you can start.
Right. So the toolbox,
Yeah.
my big old toolbox, actually. Would men have those 5-drawer things we had talked about
Yeah.
before?
Theirs
You
is
know,
huge.
huge toolbox. They works on cars, and my toolbox inside of me is huge. So yes, you're coming to a common ground.
Mhm.
That's a simple way of putting it. You're right. When you come to that common ground, you say, okay, I agree. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to help you no matter what. But do it to the point where you know that you can help them, but make sure you give them your energy and make sure, you bring everything back, but make sure that the love is there for that person no matter what. And that's something I want to talk about. Love is not a physical love that we carry as goddesses. It's a nurturing. It's a love that nobody can take away from me or that person. It never goes away. It will always be there. And you know that, Teresa. You're a God, incarnate goddess.
Right. It's like no matter how many mistakes or whatever, you're in this kind of together, and it's a love that you just hold, and it's very difficult to kind of explain on the earth plane sometimes. But it's unshakable.
Well, we're talking about life coaching right now. Let's talk about that.
Hmm.
It's unshakable, is right.
Right.
You can get upset
Yes.
with a situation, but you can still love that person.
Yeah, it doesn't change that.
No,
It doesn't change it at all.
no. And in my situation, nothing will change that either for me.
Right.
So, all right, let's hit this. When the woman comes to you, that's how a situation that's with her husband. Oh boy, I've had that. Have you?
Oh yeah.
There's two sides to every story.
Yes, there is. Sometimes there's more than that.
Yeah, and there's times where I've had this. I've worked with a woman with this situation. We had problems with her marriage,
Mhm,
unhappy as could be.
mhm.
Okay, we worked for quite a while. Then I had said, you know what? Can I speak with your husband together with you? Well, the different sides came out, and you know what? By the spiritual life coaching that I did with them, they became a happy couple and started their marriage over again. They did They did their vows different. They're very simple. What they found out is they were allowing others to pull them apart,
Mhm.
listening to their girlfriends and the guys that were talking about the woman, right? And they were able to bring it together and become one. And that's one thing I'm really proud about that happens when a couple has that problem. Now, is there any wiggle room around to handle a situation where you know your spirituality is the only thing that's going to help them? Yes, there is. But you can say this: I think I want to add a little bit of my spiritual work to this. What do you think? And most of the clients say yes, right? Because I'm not going to say about the creator, I'm not going to say about the angels of guide. I'm going to talk to them about, just some of the spiritual difficulties that can be around the situation. So as I talk to them and I say, okay, in my beliefs, I'm making sure my ego is not involved, that that we think it's in the brain, but it's not. It's coming all the way up, right? So when we talk about that and say the ego's not involved, I want to give you some advice. One, call upon your angels that we all have. Call upon our guides, and you don't have to know their names, right? And let them understand. And you know what? Call upon the creator. You may call him God. You may call him, I mean, there's different levels, right? But God, Lord, call upon Master Jesus, call upon whoever you may need. I say creator, there's a reason for that. But the creator has given me such knowledge that I will not step away from that. I'm here to bring truth and messages through. And if I don't, I'm not doing my job as the goddess I am. I'm honored to bring the messages through. I'm honored every time I come on the air, and I know I'm doing the job. But when I get off the air, it's like, how'd I do? That's your ego getting involved in it.
Mm.
And so that's one thing. All right. So we have only about 30 seconds left, I think. So let's check this out real quick. Uh, what do we do when we have a person that may need our help, that needs both psychological help along with spiritual life coaching? We'll talk about that when we get back. Have a great break and see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. So we're talking about if somebody has a psychological problem, are we qualified to work with them? As life coaches, it depends what program you've taken. If you have psychology degree behind you, then yes, you are. But if you do not, then I highly recommend that someone sees a psychologist. And then you get permission to work with the psychologist and the client. That's one thing I want to answer that question real quick. Because I will not let anyone be harmed. There's no harm to none. That is our belief. Also, our belief is healing one heart at a time. Every client is one heart. The other thing is, a lot of people take a lot of clients on and spend hours on their computers and Zooming and working with clients. I only take, I would say the maximum is 3 to 4 if necessary. The reason I do that is for the scale, because my body can only handle so much as a trans medium, and leaving my body as much as I do that and getting the information and bringing it back when I'm talking with the client or even when I'm on the air, it's happened. And I want to make sure that I keep that scale balanced. So that's one thing. Now, when you're closing a session with a client, the one thing I want to say as a spiritual coach, leave your session with love and some humor, even. Humor does a lot, laughter does a lot. I could say, I love you to a client, which I say that. I can say, I wish you the best. Have a great day. The humor can heal more than anything and laughter. All right. So, and when your client is ready to leave and you're knowing you're having to let go, that's hard because you've actually built a form of a friendship with them. And when they are ready and they say, Dr. Brie, I think I've gone far enough. What do you think I would say to them, Theresa?
I think you would have to honor what they think, and I would ask, why do you think that? Or just share that. What do you think? What do you think good has come out of it?
Right,
You think you want to go kind of from here?
right.
Kind
I
of a little
said,
bit of a debriefing.
right. And it is
Yeah.
debriefing and making sure that the door is always open for
Always.
them when they leave. I'll get a phone call and say, hey, guess what I did this week or that week or whatever. And I'm so proud of clients that I've worked with and they've gone through my programs and they said, I never thought I would feel this freedom again. I never thought I'd feel this love again. And they met somebody special or whatever. We have a special friend, you and I, in common at our favorite jewelry store. I'll say that. And he's worked things out and within his relationship, and I'm very happy. And it was through some coaching that he received. So eventually I'm going to start the life coaching on here also. Just bits and pieces of it and bring some people in. I have some people I will to do that to bring their knowledge through. The other thing is understanding their situation no matter what. There are situations that I've heard of lately that I would not want to be a part of. And somehow, in one, I've actually become a part of it, and I didn't even realize I screwed up. But anyway, but the thing about it is that uh, you're not going to take it out on the person that the situation happened. What you're going to do is you're going to take that situation. I'm going to show you right now. I want you to take a 6-inch by 6-inch gold box. All the negativity from a situation that you do not want. So it's a square box, 6 inches, right? So four corners, right? And a lid. Put all your thoughts in that and ask your angels to take it away and lock it up like you got a key to it. Lock it up and say, okay, would you please take this and put this away from me? I don't want to remember this for a while. And you have a choice to go back and look at it later. But in the meantime, you get it out of your head. So every day you can concentrate on your job you're doing now. So I have a situation that I've had to do that even today with. Put another box. I probably have
Lots of boxes.
third. Oh, I have lots of boxes, believe me. Yeah, some that the creator and my guides were willing to take out of my head. So the memories in that were the sub memory that I could not do this job if it wasn't for that. And there's been other ones that I've had to say, okay, this one's got to go, this one's got to go, this one's got to go. I hurt you badly. Okay, we're still, even though as a guys we love so deeply, but we hurt deeply too. And and Trisha, you and I both having a little temper,
Just
just a smidgen.
a smidge left.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna say a smidgen again, one more time. Yeah, I'm trying to convince myself it's a smidgen right now. But anyway, as God says, we're very opinionated. We have that strong energy inside of us that we want to say, okay, we can make everything right. But what happens when we can't make it right with life coaching, with loving someone, with separating and using the scale? What happens to someone like us? I'm gonna let you answer this one.
You get to the point where you have to go, okay, it's not like you're surrendering or giving up, but you're letting go. You're letting go for the benefit of all. You're not gone, you're just letting go.
Right.
And there's a freedom in that letting go and letting things be.
Right. Right. But then there's sometimes like me, yeah, can't let go. Go figure out why, how come it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But, that's okay. But that's the way I am. I'm about truth and justice and helping others with their justice.
Mhm.
And I've learned in a situation that I can't do that anymore. I have to let the process just happen the way it needs to happen. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because don't you feel we each have a journey? We can guide each other
Mm-hmm.
a lot and help each other, but in the end, it's up to each of us to take those next steps and then pick the next step and to
Right.
reach out when we need that guidance. And really, we're guides for each other. That's what we are.
That's you know what
We're learning new things.
you hit the nail on the head, let me tell you,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
everyone is a guide for someone.
Yeah.
But make sure
Mhm.
that what you're saying will not harm him or her, will not harm an animal, will not harm none before you act. Now, we've all made that mistake and got angry, got on our computers, and wrote letters we should not have done.
Mhm.
Okay. Luckily, I did one not too long ago and I didn't send it off. I just sent it to one person,
Okay.
like, what are you doing? But it's okay. But it put me back in this perspective what I was doing. It wasn't the person that I was upset with, the situation I was upset with. But that will all be cleared up, and that's just how it is. So the other thing is, we only got 3 minutes left. I want to get to something. Um, how do we, how can we reach out more with advice and give advice? So as we're talking to people and we give advice, is it our advice or is it something that's coming in from our angels or our guides that are dropping notes in our head and saying, okay, say this, say that. And all of a sudden you're saying something that you can't believe that came out of your mouth. Where do you think that comes from, Theresa?
I think it comes from your own guides and guidance. Sometimes you're kind of a conduit for a message to come through. And if you don't practice the balance, it could be your ego. So you have to just be aware of that, but likely from your
Yes.
guides.
So you're actually right. So a lot of times I call it a note they put in your head,
Mm.
and all of a sudden it's coming out of your mouth. You go, where did I get that from? Yeah, it's the coolest thing ever, right?
It
And it's
is
like,
cool.
and it's like, it's balanced. It's gone through all the filters before you said it.
Yeah.
So, you're right about that and about not affecting anyone on what we say. So the one thing is we only have 2 minutes left. The love that we carry in our spiritual work is so important that we do not influence someone else. All we can do is help guide them. We can help them. We can love them. We can nurture them. That's all we can do. And when we look at this whole situation of life coaching,
Mhm.
it started out with the spiritualist and it's gone on to a whole nother thing with corporate and all this other
Right.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we don't have a minute left, so I'm gonna get this real quick. Let me close this off with right now. Humor, love, trust in yourself. I was told something. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself. Do not second guess your decisions. So if you trust, believe, and don't second guess your decisions, everything will be okay. So I want to thank everyone for being a part of the Goddess Emergence where we merge together and merge better. And for more information about myself, go to drbriegibbs.com. To learn more information about Theresa, go to alchemyofthegoddesses.com. And we'll see you next time on the Goddess Emergence.
Thank you for listening to the Goddess Emergence Show with Dr. Brie Gibbs. Tune in. the first and third Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to experience Spiritual Pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It is the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence show with Dr. Brie, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside the Goddess Bell and the Creator, offer messages from the masters never shared or released on the planet. Beyond the show, Dr. Brie offers individual and group sessions at drbriegibbs.com. That's drbriegibbs.com. We hope to see you next time.
Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.